Hello and welcome to How Do I BI, a multi-part screencast series on using Analysis Services 2008 and more, based on my book Smart Business Intelligence Solutions with Microsoft SQL Server 2008. I'm Lynn Langett, Developer Evangelist with Microsoft in Southern California. And on this episode, I'm going to talk about the process for implementing data mining using SQL Server integration services. Before I head to the screencast, I'm going to cover a couple of frequently asked questions and gotchas around this topic. It's really important when you're implementing data mining through SSIS that you use the right tool, and by this I mean the right task or object in SSIS for the right job. And I'll be covering these in detail because half the battle, I think, is really finding in the interface where the task or the transform is, understanding what it does, and then you'll be comfortable once you select the right object. You're usually going to implement data mining through SSIS packages off of existing data mining models. It is possible to actually create a new data mining model, but that's not a real common business case. So you'll usually be implementing some kind of data flow around an existing model. The gotchas are around the different types of tasks and objects. In the control flow in SSIS, there are two tasks that are relevant to data mining. One is directly relevant, which is the data mining query task, which I'll be showing you how to work with in the upcoming screencast. One is preferably relevant. It's the data profiling task, and it's new to this edition. It is just performs actions that are sometimes part of the data mining lifecycle, which is really in the beginning understanding and examining the data. So I'll show how that works. In the data flow transform, we have the data mining query to work with, and in data flow destinations we have data mining model training destination to use as well. So we really have three core objects: the data mining query task, the data mining query transform, and the data mining model training destination. So in the screencast I'll be showing you in SSIS how you access those objects and how you work with them. Screencast, I'll be showing you using SQL Server Integration Services or SSIS how SSIS or Analysis Services data mining is integrated via control flow items and other objects inside of SSIS. So what I've done so that the screencast is reasonably short here is I have used BIDS and I have created a shell package in order to demonstrate these capabilities. So if you're not familiar, what I did is open BIDS and I clicked on File, New, Project, and then I simply selected the business intelligence project type called Integration Services Project. In addition to that, I dragged on some items from the toolbox. So you can see I'm working in the package.dtsx first package. I don't have any data sources associated globally or any data source views. Rather, I have connection managers associated to this particular package. So in the control flow, there are three objects that I'm going to be working with here. The first of which is a data flow task, and the reason I'm doing that is because there are some objects inside of the data flow that are related to data mining. So I just dragged that on. I didn't bother completely configuring it. That's why we get the red X here, because that's not really relevant to what we're talking about. Secondarily, I pulled on a data mining query task, which we'll be working with in just a minute, and then a data profiling task. Data profiling requires the Enterprise Edition of SQL Server. So to get started, I'm going to right-click the data mining query task and edit it so that we can work with the properties. Inside of the data mining query task editor, for the purposes of time, I've pre-configured a connection to the local SQL Server Analysis Server instance that has AdventureWorks loaded up on it with the samples. So if I wanted to create a new connection, I would just click New, and that would create a connection manager associated here. Once the connection is established, then I can select from all of the mining structures that are part of the sample, and I've selected targeted mailing, and then I can have access to the various mining models that are part of targeted mailing. I then click on the Query tab to build the query. The Query tab has three available options. I can build the query, I can set up the parameter mapping, and I can manipulate the result set. Now, to build the query, I could simply type DMX inside of the data mining query window here, or I could click on the Build New Query button, and then we would see the new data mining query dialog box that is the same thing that you'd work with in BIDS, so that we could visually create a query. So I'm going to quickly associate with the mining model the decision trees model, and then I'm going to select a case table for input, and I'm going to select V-targeted mailing, and then just as in bids, the connections between the source columns and the input columns will be established via the black lines connecting the mining model and the input table box based on the column names. So then I'm going to further work on the query by clicking in the source column below, and I can select from decision tree, targeted mail table, prediction function, or custom expression. I'm going to select prediction function, and I'm going to select predict probability and give it an alias of will buy for bike buyers, and then I'm going to select from the mining model the bike buyer predicted column and drag that in, and I'm going to click OK. Notice before I do that, up in the right, I could switch to query view, and I could also switch to results view. So it's the full query designer here. Now once I have that, you notice that the data mining query is available here. And then I have the ability, if I had included parameters, which I didn't, to associate parameters and to manipulate the result set. Now the last section at the top level of the data mining query editor is the output, and this is where I would send the output of this data mining query. So I can connect to really any type of output at this point. So I'll go ahead and click OK. And then the next control flow item that we're going to take a brief look at is the data profiling task here. So I'm going to click Edit. And inside of here, I'm going to configure the data profiling task editor with a quick profile. You can either use the profile requests or a quick profile, but just to give you a preview of what this is. And then I'm going to make a connection just to some random data here. It really doesn't matter what data I connect to. And I'm going to select a particular table. In this case, I'm going to select person.address. And again, I'll remind you that this is often used in the beginning of the data mining lifecycle when you're evaluating data quality for possible inclusion in data mining models. And this just allows you to get a quick and dirty view of the characteristics of the information in potential tables. And the output will be read by a new tool that is included as part of SQL Server called the Data Profile Viewer, which basically just visualizes the results. So the options here that are selected are the null ratio, the statistics, the value distribution, the length, the pattern, the key profile, and a functional dependency. So these are all some really great time-saving ways to evaluate data, and although it's a little bit off to the side from data mining, it is something that I have found to be very, very useful when I am automating the process of data mining. So I wanted to show it here. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of here, and now we're going to move into the data flow to look at the data mining objects that are available in data flow. And to get to the data flow tab in the package, I double-clicked on the data flow object on the control flow section. Now what I've done, again, just to make it more expedient, is I've configured an OLEDB data source to have some data be available for our data mining query. And I'm going to right-click this and click Edit to contrast this with the data mining control flow item that we just looked at. So what we're looking at here is a data mining data flow transformation. The primary difference is that this is part of one data flow. So you can see here that we've got a connection, again, to analysis services to an existing mining structure, and then we are going to go ahead and build a query in the same fashion. I won't take the time to do it, but we get the new data mining query dialog box that we're now familiar with. And once we do this, then we can take the output of that and we can put it really into any destination. I should probably move this over because it's not so much that you're going to necessarily put this into another data mining model. You can put it into any destination. So hopefully that helps to clarify the difference between the data flow transformation data mining query task and the control flow data mining query task, because they're very subtly different. The last thing that I want to show is the data mining model training destination, which I got from over here. And I'm just going to right click this and click Edit. And it's giving me an error because I didn't connect it to any source data. And what I would do here is I would simply connect either to create a new data mining model, which, as I said in the introduction, is less common, or connect to an existing one, which I've already pre-configured the connection. And then I would take any input columns, and again, of course, because I'm quickly showing this, I don't have any input columns, and I would just map them. So this is a method of training or processing additional data into an existing, generally, data mining model. So these are the different types of integration points that are available with SSIS and SQL Server Analysis Services data mining.